so much for stopping by. So much excitement because of what we got what we got planned for you today. I'm going to be talking about something slightly controversial, but obviously I'm a woman, I'm in property, we're talking about financial freedom now. Why not talk about this? Welcome to your favorite podcast, Financial Freedom Now. My name is Toyin from Icon Range, and I'm super proud to bring this episode again to you as well. Just sipping my drink, just in case you're listening to me and you can't see what I'm doing right now. Just sipping my hot tea on this lovely fine day. We're going to be talking about women in property. Okay, I mean, you should have guessed it. Why would I talk about this anyway? And why wouldn't I? I am in property, I'm a woman, and obviously I wanted to bring to you the different aspects to myself, the different hats I wear. I've always said, I achieved my financial freedom through property. It's been the asset class that I've used, and I'm still on my journey, and still constantly looking for ways and avenues to build wealth, to be able to help others, and to achieve be on that continual financial freedom journey. Not just achieving financial freedom, then you're also then looking at building generational wealth. I think I'm more on the trajectory of actually building generational wealth now, and I'm super glad because I come from very humble backgrounds, I'd say, and it's not been the easiest task getting here, but we did it. We move, we do it, we work hard, and we get the results. And I also want to share that with you. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this is I'm going to be sharing my journey in terms of how being a female in the real estate industry, being a female as a property developer, being a female within the property investment world, what does that entail? What does that look like? And I'm obviously trying to encourage more women in this space. Now, I must be very clear, and I'm super glad this is the case, because obviously I've been in this industry now, been doing it full time for about 11 years, and a lot has changed in that time. Recently, in the last 2020 tax year return, it was clearly seen that there was an increase to about 1.25 women investing in property, which is great. That's a massive increase in a short space of time from what it used to be to what you can do a research a bit more. So obviously things are improving, and we're glad. We're all here for it, because I mean, who wouldn't like to have more women? We're great, right? What would I say? I'm a woman, so of course I'm going to say that. But I mean, let the jokes apart. Let's actually talk about women in property. I think it's just important to have a good representation of the society in every business sector, in every industry. It just reflects what's in the society. We have a lot of women in society, and so there should be no reason why there is a scarcity of women in property, and there should be no barriers really to women getting into property. So obviously I'm a property developer, so I specialize in buying properties, refurbishing them, bringing them back to use, converting disused commercial buildings into residential, or we convert them to commercial space. We build from ground up developments, building of properties. And yes, I am a woman. I go to sites, I wear my hard hat, I wear my Ivy's jacket, I do the quote unquote the manly stuff, and there's really nothing wrong with it. It's a choice I've made. I love it. I absolutely love it. I actually went into the business before my husband came in full time, so it's not a case that I've just backed on what a man was doing. I actually started off the business, and it's a proud moment for me, and I think that should be an inspiration to a lot of women out there thinking of doing this themselves but not sure if it's something that they should do. Now, don't get me wrong, and I will take you through all of the challenges I've had being a woman in property. I am very lucky, and I'm grateful that I work alongside my husband, who is also supportive of me as well. So it's made it a lot easier. I would confess, but not the less. I am not I mean, you'll get to know me if you don't know me. So welcome back if you're just listening and you're just joining us. You get to know I'd never give up. So for me, it wasn't, I mean, I would still have done this either ways. I've just had my journey a little bit easier considering the challenges that I'm going to talk about that women experience, and I've definitely experienced in property. I think let's talk about the common fears that women actually have in actually getting property. There is the safety concern. Now, obviously, I just talked about women where me going to site, actually wearing hard hats and wearing IVs. I mean, I have sometimes, I must laugh now, I have sometimes gone to site in inappropriate wear, like literally wearing a dress or wearing a skirt, and I'm having to go on the ladder and all the guys are ducking because they don't want to see. Even just talking about it is funny to me. And I was like, why did I think of it? Of course, I mean, the times I've done it is not because I wanted to. It's almost the case that I started off maybe going to drop the kids off or not having a plan to go to site and to service it to our development site, and that's maybe something came up and they needed my attention very urgently, and I've just driven the car straight to the site without actually thinking of going to get a change of clothes. So those are the times that normally I'll dress appropriately. So don't shoot me yet. But yeah, there have been those times. So obviously there's the fear. I think some we have safety fears that because it's a man, it almost seems like it's a man's world. How do I actually penetrate after I get in? Would I be safe? Would I feel secure within this? And so that's some of the fear. Now I'm obviously going to talk through all of the fears, and then I'll come back to whether or not it's valid or not. There is also the discrimination and the bias. Now I have a lot to say about this one, but there is definitely discrimination not that there is definitely, this is one of the fears that some women have, that they will be discriminated against because of their female, because of their sex, and there will be some sort of bias. And obviously, I guess that's the lack of representation and opportunity has also meant that a lot of women fear that it's just not something, just because you cannot see women there. Sometimes a lot of people would not bother to try because it just feels like there is a reason why women have not been, so I won't bother trying. So all of those things have sort of created some sort of fear for women to get into property development, and all of this bias and everything has then led to some women actually thinking they don't have necessarily the same opportunities as a man does in terms of accessing finance and even investment opportunities as well. So there are a lot of things that sort of hold, in my research, hold females back from getting into property. Now, I mentor quite a few ladies. Not specifically, I mentor people. Icon Range at Icon Academy, we teach people different property strategies, and as a result of that, when we teach a lot of property strategies, people get coming into property. As a lot of that, I mentor a lot more women. I don't know, looking at our clientele, we tend to have a lot of women. We have quite a number of men as well, but there are quite a few women. I suppose maybe me being in property has helped to inspire that, and a lot of people feel that they can actually come to me to train them in property strategies. But these are some of the fears I sort of hear from a lot of ladies thinking about how them actually getting in property and why they think they cannot not actually do it. Now let's bust the myth, because they I mean, are they founded? Some are founded, but I don't think it's any reason to actually stop you from getting into property. So the first one obviously be the safety concerns. There are loads and things you can actually do to make sure you feel secure. I have been on site at after close hours with my builders, and obviously when situations like that happen, I make sure that I have doors open, or I put myself in situations where there's less likelihood to be have any issues or have any consent whatsoever. And in terms of safety, I think like any other job, you do what you need to do. You take on courses that you need to take on to make sure you understand what the health and safety guidelines are, to make sure that you're safe on site. So like I mentioned, I mean, yes, I love my high heeled shoes. I love to dress in certain ways, but I wouldn't do that and go to site with that. I wouldn't necessarily wear my high heels. I always have my boots or certain safety equipment in my boots at any point in time, because I know the nature of my job and means I'll dress appropriately. But there might be times when you do, like I mentioned earlier. But it's just obviously you knowing certain things you need to do to make sure that you're prepared for the job. Discrimination and bias, I would say this is one that I experienced. It's gotten better over the years. I don't know if it's a case of I think it's got better, but maybe in some way maybe I've somewhat got accustomed to it as well, and known exactly how to sort of navigate my way through setting comments, setting bias that I get. I mean, a good example that I tend to get always is I go to site, or I've bought a new property. I'm meeting a builder for the first time. I've been speaking to them, sending them messages on the phone, over the phone for a while, and then we actually meet for the first time on site, and you get, oh well, I mean, when is he coming? Or you just hear a comment like, oh, are we waiting for him, or are you going to go ahead? Or I'm like, who's the him? Who's the he? Why is that? Why is there a generalization that there must be some other male figure behind the conversation? And a lot of times it's just me. And I'm saying, sorry, what do you mean? And then they obviously realize what they've done. They're like, oh, no, don't worry. But I get that a lot. A lot of times I get people questioning if there is someone else. I've actually had one of my contractors say to me, oh, do you want to double check with the boss before we go ahead? And I was like, he's never, I mean, this particular contractor had never been in touch with my husband, so he didn't even know what I was the boss. He didn't know if I had a husband at all. And yet he just said to me, do you want to double check with the boss before we go ahead? And I was like, I'm the boss. And he's like, oh, sorry. I was like, well, they're not sorry, because you shouldn't have made such a generalization in the first place. But I mean, these things happen a lot. And I mean, I started off in my early days of being a woman in property being upset about it, and one of the things he helped me do is resolve that I was going to do something about it. I wanted more people that looked like me in the property industry, so I didn't want to just feel like the woman alone. And so obviously one of the reasons why I actually tend to teach and impact and mentor a lot of women into property. But I'm not saying it just has to be women. We certainly have loads of more clients than just women, but I was quite passionate about it because it wasn't a good feeling. And I think whilst I could get upset about anyone who made such comments, I think for me the easiest way would be and is to actually change that narrative and actually have more women in property, understanding that they can do a lot. I mean, you find a lot of women very good at interior decoration, being able to manage the floor plans and envision what they want, create the lovely products in terms of the property. They tend to be good managers in terms of managing the portfolio. So why not have them actually owning the assets? So I want more women to join me. So obviously, if you're listening to me, you're watching me right now, then please, if you've ever thought about being in property, then this probably is your encouragement to take that leap and get into property development. Okay, I think in terms of the representation, I've pretty much talked about the representation and opportunities. The reason why we don't have a lot of women is because a lot of women, to be fair, have held themselves back because of all of the things that we've discussed. Now, I decided that I wasn't going to be held back by that, and I need a lot more women to take that stand as well. If it's something you desire, then don't hold yourself back. Don't let yourself be held back for any reason because of all of this. Because really, you can do it. If I could do it, you can. So the only way we're going to change that representation, the only way we can change that narrative, the only way we can increase more opportunities for women is to actually step up and do it. It's not a case of what I want to buy, but I want to start with development of 100 properties in one day. It's almost like a ladder. You take one step, you get confident, and then you build on that confidence, and you go for the next one. It's not been the easiest journey. I mean, I have had not just contractors. I've actually had professionals, architects, solicitors, brokers, finance brokers. I've had them challenge my decisions in certain ways, and it takes a while to get to know and they realize just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I'm stupid. I actually have a brain and I can make use of it. But it's a case of we are changing that narrative. The only way that this can change is if we step up and do that. So exactly, it's one of the very important. I think the one concern I did have, and I suppose, I don't know if I'll say it's a real it's a real concern. It's I mean, I realize, and this is why I do what I do, there was a huge lack of mentorship options for females. For some, I don't know if I would say this is justified, and it's quite debatable to say whether this is or not this is the case. I find some women feel more comfortable in having women mentors. Now, because of the lack of representation, automatically meaning that there are not lots of women within property, it means that there were shortage of mentors. So the likes of myself, who are mentoring more younger other women into property, have just started sort of surfacing in the last few years. It's not something you've always had. So it's just that lack of opportunity of mentorship options means that those that really need more hand holding in doing this, because don't get me wrong, not every one of us is going to jump up and just go ahead and do this one and be fearless. Some of us, we need more encouragement, and so it's been difficult, I think, for a lot of women to have that sort of mentorship opportunities. You go into like a property world. I'm talking about UK specifically because that's where I'm based. And you go into the property world, it's heavily male dominated, and you just realize, I mean, for a woman, they go for like an introduction or a taster, and you just look around and it's all male. You just find if you're not prepared, it's very easy to lose taste or lose the desire to actually do this. So it's very, I think one of those things that's actually affected. The one I find that's really and it still gets on my nerves is actually networking opportunities. Now, a lot of females struggle to actually get those networking opportunities, which is absolutely required within the property market. Now, this is not just a property network meeting, this is a business networking sessions. A combination of also most women typically being homemakers, being moms, being wives, and trying to take up the home front has meant that it's much more difficult to get out onto the networking game, get into networking world. Now, even when you do, so the likes of me, I'm lucky and thankful that I have a bit of control of my time and I can actually go out and do a little of these things. When I do, it is male dominated. I belong to quite a few mastermind groups, and a lot of times you look around the room, 20 people there, I'm almost always the only female. Still till date, I'm almost the only female. And whilst my initial thought is I really don't care, and literally you hear my voice in the room, but that's just my nature. After a while, it just tell on you. You just begin to think that they're not thinking the way I think. I mean, when we sort of go to lunch breakouts rooms, we start talking about certain things, and oh my goodness, I'm not saying it's not a major thing because it's not like I'm spending all day every day with them. But I think after a year, 2 years, few years down the line, you start to feel the need of not having females around you, and it's. I mean, we do have like hangout days within our mastermind groups, some outings and the rest. A lot of times the activities being chosen are male dominated. Nothing on them, because I understand I am in the minority, right? So I totally get the fact that, I mean, they're majorly male. Some of them, actually, my husband Toby actually belongs to them as well, and so he obviously goes and I'm like, he's having fun. It's not going to stop 20 other guys enjoy having fun just because there's one female. And a lot of times the activities they go for, because I am a female, I am a woman's woman, I'm a girl's girl, are probably not activities that I'm interested in. So we need more women in property, pretty much. I think that's sort of, I think the networking one I've found that it's a lot lacking. Sometimes you have networking meetings in the evenings, at night, people want to put their kids to bed and all of those things. So it's just, and find that are mostly males that can actually get out there, men that can actually get out there to do all of that. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily a barrier. I think we need to step up and get and change all of that narrative the lack of representation within leadership roles, and just access. Because I think the more women we have in property, it would help in terms of funding opportunities. Banks are going to be more confident, knowing fully well that even though it's women led, it doesn't mean that the development would fail. So it's all of those things that you hear side comments. You try not to listen to it a lot of times. I try not to, but sometimes you just know where this is coming from. So yeah, I think the long and short of it is, it's not the easiest task to actually be a woman in property, but it's definitely by no way impossible. And the task lies with we the women to actually change this narrative. The truth is, no matter how much I want to say, or I've been treated this way, or I've had this side comment, or I've been the only woman in the room, no man can change it except we step up. It's going to be impossible for men to actually push their wives and say, go and do it, or men push their sisters or push their daughters to go and do this. No, it's just lies with you and I to know it's possible. You can do it. If I could, you can as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of more women in property, because the more the merrier. We're gonna have fun things. We can have women's parties. We can do our girly stuff while still making money, building our wealth, and achieving financial freedom now. All right then. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you've enjoyed the session. It's definitely not just been a female session, right? It's also for all you lovely men, my listeners out there, to encourage your wives, encourage your sisters, encourage your daughters. Doesn't matter what it is, and also be more accommodating to a woman when next you go for a networking meeting, to understand the struggles we face actually breaking into a male-dominated world. Thank you so much. Please like, share, subscribe, let your family and friends know this is happening. We will have more and more episodes. I'll bring in more guests as you help grow this channel, grow this episode. I really enjoy doing this, and I'm so glad that you've actually stopped by to listen to me. All right, until next time, it's been the Financial Freedom Now podcast, and I'll see you later. Thanks.